again?
Yeah, I mean, I'm living in courts with Banda and trial. Although funny part is this, that I rehearsed the climax and all the courtroom scenes of Banda while shooting trial. I called the team over, marked it out. In fact, जो climax का जो sessions court है Banda में, that's the same location that is in the trial because we already shooting a trial before. But as you know, the series takes longer to make. So yeah.
Yeah, yes, of course.
So there's a connect between Banda and trial.
There is that connect. Apart from that, the storyline is of course very different.
Very different. Yeah.
Are very different.
Besides me and my team, yeah, we are the connect basically in Banda and trial. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like you worked with one of the best there is. Manoj Bajpayee, and Kajol is also a very fine actress. And so is Sheeba. I mean, like we've seen her in so many roles. If I were to rattle off the projects that she has done, I think the interview yahi khatam ho jayega. So, tell me how important it is to have such talented actors on board.
Honestly, it is. I believe personally that one, having a great script, but a great script is nothing without great actors because they make it come alive. My job is to place the camera, light it well, stage it, but without good actors, it is dead. You can't have a good looking body which is lying dead. Unless it's Satish Shah and Jani Bhi Yaro, different story, but just saying. He's a great actor. So, but I mean, the actors bring soul into any role, right? They bring their own pain, happiness, joy, pathos into the characters and breathe life into it. So I firmly believe, and which is the reason I'm actually anal about casting actors right down to the smallest, even one line part. I ensure that I've kind of okayed it because sometimes you can have an actor as great as Sheeba Chadha there, and if I don't cast an actor who's good enough, even in a one line, I'll end up cutting that moment out because that one line falls flat. Then there is only so much that she can do to salvage the scene, and then the scene goes away. But if I give her something to play against, then everything comes alive. Every moment, every beat, silent beat works, and it's so important that I respect my actors enough by giving each actor that person to work with, because end of the day, it's like you can take 7 heavyweights and put them in the gym, but if you give them great training partners, then they'll flex more muscle. As you know, I've just come from the gym, so my analogy is but yeah.
So, Sheeba, tell me, is he an actor's director?
He's quite. That's I was just thinking when he was talking. So one works with all kinds of directors actually, and Suparn is somebody in my experience. This is the first time I worked with Suparn. Is he really does what he said, which is that he puts the camera, and then he lets you do your thing. It's his intervention is very very subtly done, I think, and very quietly done. You don't even get to know of it. I don't know if that this is how he is with every actor, because I don't know. I think probably directors have a way of changing and transforming with figuring out what an actor needs. In fact, I've been really wanting to open out this discussion at some point. This is another platform, but between actors and directors, how actors perform with directors and how directors direct various actors. So with Suparn, it was lovely. I really felt very unhindered or I think I just was really allowed a very open space to do what felt right, and I'm sure there's a lot he did, but it was so not in my face that it only helped me, and that's great, because that works for me as an actor. I know that. This over explaining, over this thing, over all that, it doesn't work for me as an actor. He's so just easy with letting you be that. Thank you, Suparn, for that.
Thank you.
And Suparn, is she a director's actor? Of course she must be.
She's a bop actress. End of story. I mean, my thing is this: the reason I kind of my job becomes easy. My thing is this: see, I know the music. I just need to make sure everybody's in the same sur.
Okay.
So it fits in the palette. When I started off in my debut film, I had KK along with Fardeen and everyone. And KK, I had written his debut film, Chal. So I knew him since then. And KK comes, I'm very excited. First day on shoot, I go to KK's vanity and I'm supposed to tell him the damn scene, which is 1.5 pages. And I start giving a narration. कि पहले ये हुआ फिर ये हुआ फिर ये हुआ फिर ये हुआ फिर ये हुआ एंड 30 minutes into the narration he says कि तू मुझे बता सीन क्या है मैंने कहा सीन तो ये है उसने कहा हिस्ट्री जानना है बस and that's when I realized I don't need to give history and geography of कहाँ से तू आ रहा है कहाँ से जा रहा है सीन बता दे मोमेंट बता दे उसमें क्या सुर चाहिए these are professional actors they've been doing it for a very long time and they live in the moment they need to know the sur just tell them the sur of what the beat is they know the overall structure of the story so my instructions kind of evolved over time where I stopped going to the history and geography of everything but yeah Sheeba Chadha is honestly a director's delight more than a director's actor.
But she has done it all, even played a Chickney Chudel in Phone Booth and all kinds of versatile. I mean, versatility is her another name. So, what does she play in this one in Trial?
She plays a very self-made woman who, in a man's world, is played by her own rules. And she has made compromises along the way. She has suffered along the way. She has created this, or she wears this mask or veneer of being unemotional while being highly emotional because she has to survive. And end of the day, business is business. You don't have time for personal relationships, especially in Bombay. Bombay is not a city of emotions. You won't survive. You have to pay your bill. You have a company to run, and she has a company to run. She has mouths to feed. So she comes from that space. And in this season, you see glimpses of her in herself. In the next season, you will see more of her personal life, but it's layers unpeeling slowly, which by the last episode in this season, you kind of see a more human side to her. It starts off very, very Shiva, go for it.
Yeah, it starts off as how one would probably expect a woman sitting in a position of power in this very corporate setup, in this and like Suparn said, having sort of really made her bones, getting where she is now. But yeah, that's how you see her in the beginning. But yeah, you don't see too much of this unraveling, I think, in this season. But there are, like you said, there are glimpses. It's a really nice the way her relationship changes with Noyonika, her take you see on certain cases that are that the company is in litigation and her stand on it. That extra that she's bringing to it. So she's with this season I think you see her quite as a
So Super, there are going to be many seasons. I mean, not the second, of course, is you already.
I hope.
Yeah, they better be.
Okay. So Suparn, you are a writer yourself. You have been associated with a lot of original work. The Family Man, even Sirf Ek Banda Kafi Hai. So what made you go in for an adaptation? It's an adaptation of the US series The Good Wife.
So the thing is this, that I'm doing a whole series of original stuff. I'm adapting books as well, and whether it's adapting shows, whether it is Rahan Naidu or The Good Wife. I mean, the challenge is that you take the kernel of the story and then you run with it and adapt it to how you want to create the world. Like in our adaptation of The Trial, the entire legal drama is ours because we don't have a jury system and all the cases are contemporary. So that changes your one chunk. Also, the relationships. Kajol's character is of an Indian woman who, even if an atrocity happens on her, she's the first one to be cancelled. Indian women are more victim shamed than despite being a victim. So that changes her reactions, her entire trajectory of how life transpires for her. Also, being an India mother is different from an Indian American mother, for example. So they react and act differently. We react and act differently. We live in a different society. So everything tends to kind of change, stuff, change our, actions. Also, the romance or the relationship between, Will and Alicia, for example, is very different here because in today's world, Will will be cancelled. It's an office romance where he's the boss. And she's a junior level employee. so it
Right.
has to be reworked completely. So,
So,
so, so we took the soul of the story, and then we adapted it to the way we want in the context of our country. So it's a very Indian show in that sense.
so is I mean, adapting it to Indian milieu the toughest part of an adaptation?
Honestly,
Uh,
there's nothing that is easy in life, so I have no idea what is toughest. But
uh,
so it I don't know what the tough part is, but yeah, I think making a show is tough enough. I don't know. I mean, adapting it is a very small part to it.
but I mean, like, do you think you'll also be on trial, considering that there will be comparisons of, especially by those who may have seen the show, though it's an old one. It's not. It's not new. It's not right there.
That's the nature of the job. I'm paid to be on trial, so it's okay. I
Okay.
signed up for it. I'm happy to be on trial.
Yeah, that's a good one. So your work has, I mean, like, appeared on several OTT platforms. No, the Z5, Amazon, and now Disney Hotstar.
And
Do
Netflix, but yeah, I know Ravi.
yeah, Netflix, Rana Naidu, right? So I mean, my question is whether streamers have their own demands. Do you? I mean, how do you decide this will go to this platform, and or there is a certain kind of a niche for them also.
So every platform has a certain zone or demarcation. Sometimes it is storylines which kind of dictate where the subject matter will go. Sometimes budgets dictate it. Sometimes a platform needs a certain thing which you have. And I am a creator sitting here with my store that I have all these plethora of things, and then my lovely friends who I'm a vendor come to me and they choose that we want this and this and this, and I happily make it for them. And I'm lucky and blessed enough to be able to kind of tell the stories that I want to do with all these lovely people.
But I mean, you've been around for a while. You've written so many films. You've directed too. But do you think Family Man changed everything for you?
Yeah, I mean, Family Man knocked open the door for me, which I was knocking at for a long time, and it kind of opened up. So then I put my foot and body in, and then I pushed the door open, put a door stopper there, and I plan to keep it open for a very, very long time.
And,
Because I'm still the same guy. I haven't changed. I was the same guy before, same guy now, but yeah.
and Sheba, I mean, you're very noticeable in films as well. So what do you think has OTT done for you? I mean, you've seen on both platforms, of course. On OTT and in cinema also, you get very meaty, nice roles, whether it's Dr. G or otherwise.
So I think OTT is just because I think having the sheer space of time which it allows you is a more fleshed out work, of course, for actors like us. Yeah, in films, yes, now of course the roles are better, but they're still they have a certain space, right? But in OTT. It's like the series I've done, for example, Bandish Bandits is one series I've done or whatever. It's just the roles are so fleshed out. You really get to see a beginning, middle, end in a very, very sort of expanded way, which is great for actors. And it's just the kind of I think work it allows OTT. Yeah? In the film zone, I'm still a mother. I'm still getting to play a mother, or at best, I'll play. I've done a film like Khuda Hafiz, which I haven't seen yet. I'll play the main antagonist. No, but sorry, but it's not exactly correct to say that. Also, like I'm just doing another film where I'm another playing the main antagonist. And it's not a mother. But it's like you're lucky because to get those roles, because they are not like every second work that you're approached for is not that in the film zone. But in OTT, it's really lovely to get the kind of roles one is getting. It's just more fleshed out. So yeah.
So my question is whether you think you agree with her. There's greater creative freedom on OTT platforms.
I think what streaming platforms allow you to do is one, long format storytelling, lets you to graph out stories and characters in a much bigger arc. Also, OTT platforms allow you to kind of you are not bound by market dictates कि ये पटना में चलेगा, ये यूपी में चलेगा. Your masala making technique is very different on OTT. It's much more purer as compared to trying to ration it out state wise कि यहाँ ये चलेगा, यहाँ ये नहीं चलेगा, ये multiplex में चलेंगे, ये clap trap. Films we write for clap traps, right? It's a very community experience where you're expecting whistles and CTs. You don't expect that when you create on OTT, because you could be watching on a phone, in a train, in a plane, at home, alone, separately, or together. If you get a whistle, great, but that's not how you write. Also, a film is a 3-act structure: start, middle, end, film over. It's a much more encapsulated experience. OTT is a much larger chunk of time devoted to it. Whether you binge watch it in one night or over a course of a week or 10 days, you are giving more time. It's a long-term relationship as compared to a one-night stand. So it's it is what it is.
Yeah. So what is the masala technique for a trial?
Lots and lots of emotions, very complex ones, the kind that make you question a lot of your decisions, or at least hold a mirror to something that you have seen but not addressed.
Okay. And in one line, why should viewers watch it?
So it's a brilliant pop level show.
Yeah. So the trial begins. 3rd July. Come 3rd July, we are all looking
it does.
forward to it. Yeah. But my one last question. The title is quite a mouthful. Trial, Pyaar, Kanoon, Dhokha. I mean, and the original is
PKD.
Do you think you're saying
The trial, PKD, na?
Huh?
The trial, PKD, packaged.
Package. Okay. Right. Okay. All the best, and looking forward to seeing you, Sheeba. I think you completed 25 years. I think in the industry. Is it so?
Yeah, roughly, yeah, maybe a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the best, and hoping to see you in greater and more versatile roles. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.